folks, welcome to yet another episode from the TGV Global Speaker Series. And our guest for today is Joe Bains. He's from London. Joe Bains is a biohacker, health coach, and a seasoned stand-up comedian and MC who has graced stages at various prominent festivals and venues. His remarkable journey involves battling and overcoming diabetes type 2, which left him disabled for 6 months. Through dedicated self-recovery and biohacking practices like Keto, intermittent fasting, cold exposure, and Wim Hof breathwork, Joe has not only reclaimed his health, but now in his 50s enjoys boundless energy, surpassing even his younger years. He is also the author of a book on healthy living, and as we prepare to delve into our conversation on the topic at hand, the concept of biohacking, reverse aging, and the benefits of intermittent fasting, here's an exciting twist. Let us tickle the brains of Joe first before we get started. So Joe, get ready for a rapid fire round of random words. I'm going to mention a few and I would love to hear the first thing that comes to your mind in response without thinking much. If you're ready, let's dive in. Okay. So I'm taking that as your consent and that
yes,
moving forward.
Yeah. Because you were talking, I didn't want to interrupt you.
Oh, got it. No worries. So here comes the first word is curiosity.
Adventure.
Invention.
Growth.
Future.
Life.
Book.
Learning.
Movie.
Fire, I suppose. I don't know, yeah.
Food.
Food, health.
Health.
Food.
Universe.
Universe, God.
Success.
Happy.
And the last one is creativity.
I'd say power.
Awesome. I loved your responses and thank you for participating in the first rapid fire round so sportively. There is one more towards the end of the episode, so stay tuned. And folks, welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series where we embark on transformative conversations for a better future. I'm your host Naveen Samala, dedicated to making the world a better place through valuable discussions that add value not only to your life but also to your career. And thank you so much for tuning in. Joe, how are you doing today? You look so young and you look so cheerful. And I didn't believe that you are in your 50s, honestly.
I still don't believe it either. You know, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago, I didn't look like this.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't look like this at all. I used to be chubby, I used to wear very loose clothes. Now I don't do that. Now I work out. I enjoy working out, so it's great. Yeah. Oh, and this is, I don't know if you know about this, bulletproof coffee.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
Okay, so this is coffee, but with lots of butter or ghee or coconut oil or whatever, any of those things in there. So this contains this coffee here. It's coffee, but it's got maybe 400 or 500 calories of butter in here. So there's almost like a quarter of a stick of butter in it.
Got it. So that is one of your secrets. And as we delve into our conversation to uncover all the secrets behind your health, overcoming diabetes, type 2, and many more, first let us begin with your success mantra. So please share with us the top 3 things that have contributed to your success so far.
The first one is that I don't know anything, right? Every time I think, so one is you don't know anything. So the first thing you can do is just go every morning, I don't know anything, right? It's because as soon as you go, I know something, the universe will prove you wrong. The second one is just get up early. Like this morning, I woke up at 5:30 and then I went for a walk. And also look after your body. Your health is your wealth.
Yeah.
If I've been in a situation where I've lost my health, and it doesn't matter how much money you got, right? Yeah. It doesn't matter. Like none of that shit matters. So your health is your wealth. So yeah, those are the 3 things I like to go with. Yeah.
Superb. So your journey from working in big IT consultancies to becoming a biohacker health coach is quite a transformation. So share the pivotal moment or realization that led you to make this significant shift in your career and lifestyle. What triggered it all?
Well, I suppose it was my marriage. To be honest,
Mhm.
I used to work in the city, which is not far from here, and I worked. I'm Indian. I'm from Jalandhar,
Oh.
so I'm Punjabi. Menu Punjabi on the air, that kind of stuff, right? And in Indian culture, like the goal is to work for Accenture. The goal is to work for the big consultancies. The goal is
Infosys,
to
CTS.
Emphasis, yeah. So I was chasing that as well. So I
Mm,
worked for Accenture and all the other companies there.
mm,
And I thought that's what success was. So
mm,
I'm earning really good money in the city. I'm working really hard. I'm married. I have a big house, like everything.
mm.
And and my bank account is flush with money, everything, right? I should be
Yeah.
very happy. I was miserable as hell. I got
Mm,
to the I got to the gold at the end of the rainbow, and it was just tinsel. It was just Christmas, Christmas stocking stuff. Like it wasn't real, and I was like miserable as that. I was like, what? How have I got to my goal? How have I got to where I was supposed to be and not be happy? And then my marriage. Oh, I mean, I didn't understand myself. I didn't understand women. I didn't understand marriage. I didn't understand relationship. I didn't understand anything.
mhm.
And it, and that we'll talk about that. It put me in hospital. But what happened before that was we moved to Switzerland,
Mm,
and in Switzerland it was mind blowing because I ended up in this, and I'm always to be grateful. It's a guy. At that time, he was about 18-year-old kid, right?
mm,
This was like 10 years ago. His
mhm,
name is Stefan. He's
mm.
Swiss. And I used to belong to Toastmasters. So he came to my
Yeah.
Toastmasters club
Mm,
and he saw me give a speech and he goes, "You got to come to my club. My club is amazing. You got to
yeah.
come and, you're going to love it." And I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody's telling me something, right? I was like, yeah, whatever, right? But
Yeah.
because I didn't go to his club, the next month he came back to my club, saw me give another speech, and then starts trying to get me to go to his club. And I'm like, yeah, 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 I'm not interested. And but he does it a third time as well.
Mm,
Like he's persistent. I'm like,
yeah.
all right, I gotta go. Right. I went to his club. It was the most amazing club I have ever been a member of. It was like 40 guys, and they're all into personal development, like in a big way. They're all like 18, 17, 15 years old. I'm like 45, 45 years old. And I'm in these kids, like so on it, like, and these are kids like 15 years old, 20 years old, 25 years old. Like I'm more than double their age. And they were like, all right, hustle, learn, grow, evolve, like that's how they were. And I'm like, okay, how do I keep up with these kids? Like, so I was like, so they made me up my game being in that club. And I grew the most in that club. So in that club for like 2 years when I was living there. And it was the most amazing thing. Yeah. So
Mhm. Got it. And how did your name become Joe Bains? You said you're from India, right? So if you don't mind, you want to share that story?
So I was born, and my passport still says it, I'm Joga Singh Bass, right?
Joe Singh. Okay.
And Joga Singh, right? And I went to university, all that kind of stuff. I came out of university and I was trying to get a job and I couldn't get a job. I would apply for job after job after job and nothing would come back, right? It was like into a black hole.
Mm,
And at that time, also when I was in school here, because I had to learn English when I came over here. I didn't know even the word hello, right?
yeah.
And one of the first words I learned in English was the word bastard, right? I didn't know what it meant,
Hmm.
but it sounded like the most beautiful word in the world, right? It sounded beautiful to my ears, I remember. And so I used to shout it out, bastard, bastard, because I thought it was something beautiful. And then somebody ran up and he said, "What are you doing?" Right? You can't say that, like you can't be saying that. And I'm like, "Why not?" And they were like, "No, it means this, So, oh, all right. And then as soon as they told me what the word meant, the word no longer sounded beautiful to me,
Yeah.
because so I'm like, okay, that's interesting. What was your question again? I've forgotten. How did I get my name? Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the other things that I realized, I came in the early 80s. My parents brought me over in the early, and there's a lot of racism in the UK, right? A lot of racism, a lot of prejudice against immigrants, against brown people. I've been called Paki, blackface, monkey face, all of that kind of stuff, right? And I was like, in this environment, being brown, being an Indian is not serving me, right? I can't, I need to become white. I need to become British. So I started learning the standard British English with the standard British accent. So I used to listen to the radio all the time. I had elocution lessons, everything. And I don't know where I got the idea from, but somewhere my brain said, why don't you just change your name to make it British? And they can't tell, right?
Yeah.
So on my CV, I changed my CV. I removed all references to India or being an immigrant in any shape or form. And I changed my name to Joe Bains. And I learned the English accent. And oh my God, you're not going to believe it. Like Indians, we study hard, right? I studied like a dog. And so as soon as I changed myself to English, I started getting responses. I started getting interviews. And in IT, the first interview is always on the phone, right?
Yeah.
So my first interview on the phone, I sound like this. My name is Joe Bains. There's nothing in my CV that says I'm immigrant or Indian or anything like that. So you just assume I'm white, right?
Yeah.
So I'm being treated like a white guy, And so now, so I get the second interview because I'm Indian, so I study like hell. So when they ask me questions, I have the answer and the answer and the answer, right?
Yeah.
So I would always get the second interview. And then as I'm going for the second interview, my goal is as soon as I walk through that door into the interview, I'm looking at the interviewer's face because I want to see the reaction on their face. And sometimes I would see that, that is not what we're expecting. So basically, I did it initially just to get job interviews. And it was so successful. Like literally, I think it was within 2 or 3 weeks of changing my name to a British name, I had like 6 job interviews lined up, like within week, like boom, boom, boom. And then before I knew it, they weren't racist. They were just, they didn't want to hire somebody they don't know,
Yeah.
And I also studied interview techniques. So by the end of the interview, they are trying to sell me the job. Like I got it to such a level that I would turn the tables on them, and I would start interviewing them, and they would then start trying to sell me the job. Like so, by the end of the interview, they're offering me the job, and I'm like, I need to go and think about this. So that was the reason, because of all the prejudice in the UK. I think there's still some, because I noticed, like I've worked all over the world, and I noticed as soon as I open my mouth and this English accent comes out, how they treat me, how they behave towards me, I see it change. Like, oh, he's not from, from some backward little village, like that thought must go through their head. And, oh, okay. And then I get treated very differently. Like the doors it opened for me was just immense in the UK. So, yeah.
Fair enough. And thanks for sharing so openly. I really appreciate it. And also, a while back, you mentioned about Toastmasters. I'm also a big fan of Toastmasters. Whenever somebody talks about Toastmasters, my ears and eyes are all wide open because the kind of benefit that one can really get from those is amazing. All right. So, Joe, let's move forward. And you have dealt with this burnout as well as diabetes type 2. It is a significant challenge for sure. And could you walk us through the key strategies as well as lifestyle changes you implemented to recover from this and avoid the pharmaceutical road?
So I see myself now sometimes sort of outside of the matrix. So there's this thing called the matrix, which is you're in the system, right?
Yeah.
And I grew up thinking, right, you're the doctor, pharmaceutical drugs. This is the advanced medicine. This is the future, and all this Ayurveda and all this herbs, that's just rubbish, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is nothing compared to pharmaceutical drugs. And a doctor, he's got letters after his name. He spent 10 years being a doctor. He's the expert. What do I know? I know nothing, right? So I grew up with that mindset. And I also grew up with Western food. McDonald's, KFC, fish and chips. Like I know what those are. Those are the diseases of the West, right? And India is diseased massively because McDonald's is there, KFC is there, Pizza Hut. So the West is going to poison you guys. But so I grew up with that mindset, right? And then so I used to eat a lot of food because I was always hungry. I was always hungry because I was eating crap, right, all the time. And then on top of that, I was working 6 days a week, 12-hour days. On top of that, I was married. My marriage was a nightmare. And because I didn't understand anything. So my whole life I was under stress, like constant 24/7 stress, And it basically, I used to suffer from depression. I have mood swings going up and down. 1 minute I'm happy, next minute I'm like, wanting to commit suicide or something. It was horrendous. And I even remember it now, being in there, going, this can't be how we're supposed to live. This can't be how I'm supposed to exist. This is hell. It was and that eventually put me in hospital. Yeah, and when it put me in hospital, I was still going, I don't know anything. It's nothing to do with me. You're the doctor. You're the guy in the white coat. You're the one with the letters after your name. You fix me. It's your problem. I don't want to know, right? And in the UK, I got transferred to many different hospitals. I think it was like 5 different hospitals, and each hospital said, "We can't help you. We can't help you. We can't do anything with you." And then I remember the last hospital, they said, "Look, you can't just keep going from hospital to hospital. It has to come to an end." And so I was disabled at the time. And I remember the most empowering thing in my life was the 2 consultants coming to me, and they didn't give me a chance to talk. I'm lying in bed and they come over and they're like, "Look, we've done every test. We've done everything. And there's nothing we can do for you. You are this is how you are. This is how you're going to be." And I'm listening to this, right? But I'm not there. In my head, my brain is like half there, half somewhere else. And the other place there's all these cogs and gears turning in my head, like being inside a watch, like a mechanical watch. All these cogs are turning in my brain. And when they finally say, we're going to discharge you today, and there's nothing we can do about it, my brain clicked into place and it went, now it's my turn. And I was like, okay, I have to take responsibility. And at that point, I realized, I am responsible for my life, and up to that point, it was no, you. And then once I took responsibility, everything changed. Once I said, I take responsibility for me, like the whole universe opened up to me. Like it went, you need this, you need that, you need, everything just came to me. Whatever I needed, since then, whatever I need, it almost like the universe is like this butler walking around. And every time I go, oh, I need water, it's like, oh, there's some water. Oh, I need X. Oh, there's that. Like literally, I have to believe in God. Like I used to be an atheist. I have to, because it feels like God or the universe or something is walking around behind me. And every time I go, oh, I need X, it comes around and goes, sir, here's your X you ordered. And I'm like, what? Where'd that come from? And that's how my life has played out. It's, so yeah.
Got it. Now let's take a step back and talk about the biohacking, which is again a fascinating and emerging concept. I've done very few episodes on this topic. So for our audience, again, who might be new to it, could you explain what biohacking is and how can it impact one's health as well as overall well-being?
So biohacking is a concept, right? So biohacking is all about keeping an open mind and going, how can I improve? How can I optimize? How can I make this better? How can I, like my exercise, I'm doing an hour, let's say, exercise. How can I do it in half an hour, get the same results? How can I optimize my food? How can I optimize my eating? Like everything. That's what biohacking is. The art and science of peak health, peak performance, and anti-aging. It's an art because even though we're the same, there's slight differences between us.
Yeah.
Right? So what works for me, I might go, I've got this amazing coffee formula. and it's awesome. You might take it and go, yeah, it was all right. But then you might tweak it a little bit, change it a little bit here and there and go, oh, wow, now it's amazing, right? Because we are different, right? Even though we're the same.
Yeah.
And it's a science because a lot of this research comes from out of universities and Silicon Valley, right? And the reason biohacking exists is because our pharma industry, the traditional pharma, it is so toxic. It is so bad for you. Like I would compare the pharma industry to the smoking industry, the tobacco industry. I would even argue that the tobacco industry is better for us than the pharma industry. It's like that bad, it's insane. And so this is like a backlash to the pharma industry because they all they care about is profit. They don't care about your health. Like if they make you healthy, it was an accident. All right, it was literally an accident. They didn't mean to do it. They're sorry they made you healthy. Like it's like at that level. Anyway, and it comes from this guy called Dave Asprey, who suffered a lot. He's a Silicon Valley entrepreneur, and he's the guy who. By the way, you know what biohacking is in terms of? It's basically taking the knowledge from the thousands of years, like yoga, Ayurveda, Eastern mysticism. It's taking, and also from other countries as well, from China and all the other places. It's taking things that ancient cultures have been doing for thousands of years, and then putting it through the Western marketing system and putting it through the Western science and medicine, to prove it, and then packaging it up in a way that it's like here, like for example, intermittent fasting. We've been doing fasting in India for thousands of years, and for a long time in the West, they're just torturing themselves, they're just harming themselves. But then they put it through the lab, and they go, wow, the effects are amazing, right? And they discovered this in 2016 when this guy, Japanese biologist, studied fasting, under the microscope. And he found it had massive health benefits. He won a Nobel Prize for it as well. I can't say his name because it's some weird Japanese name, right? But he won a Nobel Prize for it. And I was like, and as soon as he won a Nobel Prize for this, it put it on the map. And this is Bulletproof Coffee, right? This is created by Dave Asprey from Silicon Valley. But where he got this from, he was on holiday in Mongolia in the mountains. And he went up trekking up there, and he had the Sherpas and all that. And they wouldn't give him any food, right, when he was up there. But what they did give him was coffee with yak's butter mixed into it. And it gave him loads of energy, and he felt clear and everything. And it's like, this is weird. Why are they giving me coffee with yak's butter in it? And why is it making me feel so good, right? And so then when he got home, Silicon Valley entrepreneur, millionaire, he had a lab, and he went, look, I'm going to study this. So he studied coffee and butter and all that. And he found the effects were so amazing. He created a company behind it called Bulletproof, his company. And so he sells Bulletproof. Like before lockdowns, I used to run workshops on Bulletproof coffee. So so that's where biohacking comes from. It's just optimizing. How can I optimize? How can I optimize my health? Whatever, and my performance. And a lot of it comes from India as well. Like Brahmi, Indian herbs, ashwagandha, and all that kind of stuff. And keto is a big one in that. Keto and fasting, breath work, all of those things. Yeah, so that's basically biohacking.
Awesome. Can we explain more about this intermittent fasting? How does it benefit someone? And also keto. A bit about keto.
So intermittent fasting is basically fasting, we do in India, and I'm sure you do. And what they found is when you don't eat, right? So your body, the way your body works is that your body's either digesting or is healing, repairing. It can't do both at the same time, right? Just the way it's evolved, it can't do both. If you don't eat and like no calories are coming in, for the first 10, 12, something like that hours, the digestive system is still running. And so nothing really happens. You get a bit hungry. But if you don't eat for 10, 12, whatever, like it depends on each person, then what happens is your digestive system shuts down. And as soon as your digestive system shuts down and your insulin levels drop, your body goes into something called ketosis. And then as soon as it does that, all these massive health benefits kick in. And so the idea behind intermittent fasting is that for the first 10 hours, nothing's going to happen, but that's okay. So you can do like a 16-hour window, right? So you can fast in a day for 16 hours. So the first 10 hours don't really count. For the last 6 hours, your body is doing a lot of healing and repairing. And so what that means is that you now have an 8-hour window. So you can only eat within that 8-hour window. I have maybe like a 4-hour window. So, and what you do is you build yourself up. So if you eat 5 meals a day, which is what I used to do, my eating, I would eat every 3 hours or whatever it was. And so I would then slowly increase that to 5 hours, 7 hours, 10 hours, 12. But once and it was really hard to get it to like 16, 18 hours, like really hard. I remember struggling with that. But as soon as I got it to like 20 hours, it became really easy. And then as soon as I got to 20 hours, I could now do 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. It didn't matter, right?
Yeah.
And keto comes from the diet is because it puts your body into that state of ketosis. So keto is a way of eating where you keep the body in that fasting state, where it's still in the ketosis state. And so it's still doing all the healing and stuff. And keto is keto is the default diet of the human, being, because evolution. So we were mainly keto, carnivore, that kind of stuff for like for millions of years. And then in the last 100 years, we've started eating the standard Western diet, the standard American diet. And the standard American diet, it's so bad for us that if you deviate from it in any shape or form, your health improves. So this is why, there's like dozens of diets out there, and they all work. And they all work because they all remove the standard Western diet from the diet. Fast food, they all get you to eat real food. And once you start eating real food, and you remove the toxic processed crap, your health improves. And so people are vegan and they go, oh my God, my health has improved. People go on a fast, oh my God, my health has improved. It doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah.
It's not that particular diet that's doing it. It's just that you remove the shit, And so keto is the way your body it's like the default engine in the body. It's like the way the body has been evolved to live. Yeah, that's keto. And intermittent fasting is part of that. Because when you're keto, one of the things that happens naturally under keto is you don't want to eat. Keto gives me freedom. I grew up and I used to eat 5 meals a day. Like I would have 2 breakfasts in the morning because I was that hungry. Like I was like a slave to food. As soon as I woke up, my first thought would be like, I need to have breakfast. As soon as I've had breakfast, before I've even got to work, I need my second breakfast. I was literally a drug addict running after my next fix. And I was like, this is not how this cannot be how we're supposed to live. I cannot be getting up and running after meal after meal after meal after meal. That was my life. And I was addicted to it. If I wanted to go anywhere, it'd be full of food. Because I'm like, well, what if I get there and there's no food? How am I going to live? How do I get my next? I was like paranoid about that. And I was scared as well. What if I end up somewhere and I can't get a meal for the next 6 hours? I could die. It was at that level. And what keto does, it completely divorces me from food. Food is not like, it doesn't even come up on my, during lockdown, me and a friend, we went hiking in the mountains, while camping, where we just take a tent, go up the mountain and then just pitch a tent anywhere. And we both turned up and he turned up with 2 big rucksacks, right? One rucksack with his camping gear and all that kind of stuff at the back, right? Big bag. And another big bag at the front with all the food, because we were going to be up in the mountains for 10 days. So we need to take everything with us, right? Apart from water, because we can get that there. And I turned up with my rucksack on the back, nothing at the front. I didn't take anything with me. All I had was my water bottle. That's it, right? And so and for the first 5-6 days, I didn't eat.
Mm-hmm.
We were hiking 20 miles up and down the mountain every single day.
Wow.
Like proper hard, like we'd be sweating every day. And I didn't eat and nothing happened. Like my energy levels didn't go down. Like nothing happened to me, you know, like, and that's what keto is. Keto is, it divorces you from food. So you can do things like that. So like we could go hiking for 20 days and I don't take any food. I don't need to worry about food. Right?
Yeah.
Nothing happens to me. Like after 20 days, I will still be as I am now. You know, like I train in a fasted state. Like I work out, I go to the gym, and I haven't eaten for 2 days. You know, nothing happens. Like all this thing that you're gonna get muscle loss and you're gonna get muscle waste if you don't eat, or you're gonna have this and that. Right? It doesn't. You know, I built this while eating 1 meal or 2 meals a day. Right? And so that's what keto is, the way our bodies are designed to eat. And that's my thing.
Great, very well explained. And I'm now completely aware of keto and intermittent fasting. I think I'm going to start very soon. And Joe, I've also seen the combination of these Eastern philosophies like Tantra yoga and Kashmir Shaivism is also intriguing. So how do these ancient philosophies complement your approach to
So you've heard of Tony Robbins, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm a massive fan of Tony Robbins. I've crewed for him. I've been to his event like 7-8 times now. Right. So, and also and it's life changing. Right. And then there's also Millionaire Mind Intensive, T. Harv Hacker. Amazing stuff. Right. Amazing. Top of their game. Awesome. Right. And I've always seen, to me, yoga for most of my life was this thing women did in leotards in the gym. You know, these postures. And I thought that was yoga. It's just some exercise. And meditation, you know, it's just something that Indians do, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know. And I'm always interested, you know, like I'm a learning machine. I'm always trying to learn, grow. What can I learn here? Why is the light on your glasses? What makes it refract? You know, like all that kind of. I want to know everything, right? And so I'm a learning machine. I always want to grow. And so I studied, initially I studied Einstein's theory of relativity, which says that everything's energy. Everything's just compressed energy. And then I thought, okay, but, you know, what's the energy made of, you know? And then I started studying quantum physics. Quantum physics says, okay, even though it's energy, those energies are made out of particles called quarks and ups and downs and whatever, you know? Okay, so that's what they're made out of. But the problem with quantum physics is so weird. Every time it answers a question, it creates another 10 questions on top of it, you know? So it's very incomplete. And so I was trying to figure out, like, you know, how things work. And then I came across Kashmir Shaivism, Tantra. And well, before I came across that, actually, I don't know if you've heard of this, Vipassana.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So I've done 5 Vipassanas now. And the first one I did was in India, I think it was in Chandigarh or Lucknow or something like that. Like 8 hours by train from New Delhi. And it blew my mind. You know, you sit there and meditate, and it's like taking acid. You know, like by day 6 or 7 or whatever it was, right? And I was like, no way. How can this thing do this to me? You know, like it just doesn't make sense. And that opened my mind up to, wow, you know, there's something here that is beyond whatever we know, right?
Yeah.
And then became curious in that. And so I started studying and Kashmir Shaivism, Tantra, and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, like I tell you that Tony Robbins and all this stuff in the West.
Yeah.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
The hands down, out of all of these programs, that personal development, hands down, the best personal development program I have ever been on, the most complete and the most thorough, is Tantra Yoga and Kashmir Shaivism. Do you know, like, they are like, it's like, I would call Tantra and Tantra Yoga and Kashmir, they're just personal development programs. They're about developing this being to such a level that you become God. You know, they're not trying to get you to be a CEO of a company or to run a continent.
Yeah.
No, their goal, ultimate goal is, you know, godness, you know, is being God, you know, like being the infinite, being the universe, being creation. Like there's no halfway house there, right? And I've been doing this now for 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
and it's totally changed my life. Totally changed how I look at the world. It's totally changed how I interact with the world. It's totally changed my relationship with myself. You know, and one of the things I learned from it is that everything is me.
Yeah.
You know, if you insult me, where's the fault? The fault is here somewhere.
Yeah.
Because they call it the, how can I describe it? Oneness. Oneness, I think, is the one, you know, is what allows you to know. So oneness means there's only one. Well, what does that mean? One God, one what, right? No, there's only one. It's not one God. It's not one anything. It's just one. Like nothing else exists. Just this one thing. And this one thing is consciousness. So the whole of creation, everything that exists, is just consciousness. It's like a vast, infinite ocean of consciousness, right? And that is the fabric of existence. So God, existence, self, it's all the same thing. And this existence, this God, this consciousness, has a desire to experience another, or to experience. And so what it does, it fragments itself, or it creates the illusion of fragmentation, so that it can experience another. So what we are, the way I look at my life now and the universe, it's like a movie. So so the whole universe is a movie, and within that movie, each of one of us is a mini movie inside that movie. Or in Tantra, the way they look at it in Tantra, is a dance. You know, like so all of creation is a dance between the masculine and the feminine. The masculine has a role to play in it. The masculine is the consciousness, is the space. So if we take this room, the masculine is the room itself, the space. And everything inside that room, anything that moves, the spoon in it or me in it, that's the feminine. You know, all that movement, all that energy. And so the feminine cannot exist without the space, you know, without the room. And if there's just the room and there's nothing in it, then, nothing happens. So you can think, so once you think of, and I don't know, have you heard of, what is it called? Where you don't ejaculate. Multi-orgasmic man. Right? So women can have kind of multiple orgasms, right? Yeah. They're designed that way. It's just the way it is. Men, once you ejaculate, it's game over, right? That's it. But in Tantra, what they teach you is how to control the sexual energies.
Wow.
So I've been learning how to control the sexual energies. And basically, Tantra yoga is Hatha yoga. But what they do is they combine it with the sexual energy. So Tantra yoga is just doing yoga, but using sexual energy to speed up your development, to speed up your growth. So now, like for example, I'm multi-orgasmic. So I have a tantric lover, and we can make love for like hours and hours. And with Tantra, because you don't ejaculate and because you don't come, you have what are known as in full body internal orgasms. So you have internal orgasms, so nothing comes out, and it's about using the energy and pushing the energies up. So our goal in yoga and Kashmir and all that is to open up all the chakras, and then the top chakra, you open that up, and then you realize you're God, and then you now the Buddha, right? And so what Tantra does, it goes, well, hang on a minute. At the base of your spine and in your body, there's a lot of sexual energy, and it's the most powerful energy in your body. Like in all the other practices and religions and all that kind of stuff, they're afraid of it because it's too powerful. It's really hard to control, and it can take you away. It can take you away from your goal because you can get addicted to it. Because it's pleasure as well. So what they do is in Tantra, they teach you how to harness that energy. They teach you how to manipulate it. They teach you how to redirect it, transmute it in any shape or form. And for a woman to do that, she just needs a bit of training. She just needs a bit of coaching, and she can do that quite easily. But for a man has to learn women things, and to be able to learn, like it took me maybe 2 or 3 years to learn to control that energy. And in the first couple of years, like I was just like a baboon in in a cage, I didn't know what I was doing, and now I can control the energies. And I was like, wow, I can do that, and it explains to me also why my marriage failed, like I didn't understand women. And the other thing with Tantra is it teaches you masculine, feminine. So now I intimately understand the feminine and what that means, masculine, what that means. So the man's job is to be the rock, is to be the space, the stillness, the sense. So if you think of it like a storm or a tornado, the masculine is the eye of the storm, the stillness. And then the storm around it is the feminine. So that's the woman. So the woman is the energy. So for a woman to be a woman, so you need to be the masculine. You need to create the space so that she can be feminine. And so a man's job, and the best way to do it is not to react to her. So she says, I don't like men I don't like bold men, or I don't like brown people, it shouldn't affect you. And the other thing in Tantra, I'm just playing this character. So I'm playing a character called Joe Bains at this time, right? But in my next life, I could be playing Naveen, I could be Naveen, in another one, I could be a woman. In another one, I could be a dog or whatever, so what it allows you to do is creates a little distance between the I, as in your consciousness, and your body and mind, because your body and mind is not you. It's just the vehicle that you're using. And once you can take a step back from yourself and go, well, so if if we have an argument and you insult me in some way, and I'm like, oh, the character Naveen has insulted the character Joe Bains, and that's very fascinating. I tell everybody, right? If you're interested in person, just go and do Tantra yoga, just learn Kashmir. It's just like I'm still doing the same things, but how I see them is completely different.
I think we have to do one full episode on this Tantra yoga. I'm very much super interested now.
It's the most amazing thing in the world. I cannot
Joe, we have had an incredible conversation so far, and it's time for us to add some more excitement. Already this is an exciting episode with tons of information, interesting information, but it's time for us to add some spice, create some excitement. So if you're ready, let's get into the second rapid fire round. Are you ready for it?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay, here comes the first question. If you could have one gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say?
It would say, how you do anything is how you do everything.
And which three things you will carry to a deserted island?
Three things I would need on a desert island. Wow. I'd like my my music collection, my audio, I'd also, a water bottle would be great. And I'd like, and a knife on a desert island, because you're going to need a knife, to cut wood or whatever.
Good one. And can you describe yourself in just one word?
Evolving.
And do you believe in aliens?
Of course. I mean, the universe is so big, there has to be. We cannot be the only beings in this universe.
Got it. And if you could have dinner with any historical figure, living or dead, who would it be and why?
I'd like to have a dinner with Mahatma Gandhi, to be honest. I mean, this is a man who doesn't believe in violence, and yet he galvanized 1 billion people to overthrow one of the most powerful nations in the world. The British, kicked them out without using a bullet, without using a knife, which is like, even though I've watched his movie and I've read his work, I still can't believe that it was possible to do. It just doesn't make sense.
And here comes the last bullet out of rapid fire round. What is one electronic gadget that you'd like to see or invent yourself?
If I was to invent a gadget, I'd like to invent something that that every time you went into, for me or whatever, it would give you a little electric shock. That's what I'd like to invent. Every time you went, it's his fault, somehow it detects it, and then it gives you a little shock, and it goes, no, that you need to come out of that. So that's what I would I'd like to invent, a gadget. I don't know how it would work. But,
Good one. And that's a great rapid fire. With that, let's flip back to the mainstream. And what are your top recommendations for someone looking to optimize their health and well being, especially in the fast paced, high stress world we live in today? Any quick things?
Yep. So the first one would be to disengage from the matrix. The matrix is the mass media, all that kind of stuff, scrolling on Facebook, all that kind of stuff. What you want to do is you want to remove the news, all the news from your life, the tabloids, because it's all negative, and two, it's all made up. Yeah, all of it's made up. There might be bits of truth in there, but it doesn't matter. And also, you don't need to know. Like, if there was an accident in, outer Mongolia, how does that affect your life? I disengaged from the matrix like 15 years ago, and I remember it was amazing. Like, after 1 month, all my stress levels went down, my mind calmed down. I felt more alive. I felt more calmer. I felt more, I was like, wow, it's like being, like unplugging yourself from it. The second one would be everything you believe is false. Everything, not like, but when I first heard this, no, maybe 1%, at least 1% of what I believe has to be true. No, it's all lies. Never assume anything. So whatever you've been told, question everything. Like, literally just question everything. Because it's all BS. Yeah, everything. And the third one would be, I would highly recommend people to go on keto. Keto is how we're meant to eat. And once you feed your body the food it's actually supposed to eat in the way it's supposed to eat it, it changes everything. Like you become like, and this is what is, I call this human version 2.
Yeah.
But this is how we're supposed to live, not this, the crap we feed ourselves. So yeah, basically just disconnect from the matrix. That's what I would say. That's basically all of it.
Super. Fabulous insights, and thoroughly enjoyed every bit of this conversation. How is your experience being hosted on the Guiding Voice platform?
Oh, I loved it. Really good. Yeah. I've done a couple of podcasts, and this is the first one I've done this early. Yeah, but no, I'm looking forward to, seeing it on YouTube or wherever it's going to end up. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would love to host you again for sure. Let's discuss more about Tantra Yoga and Kashmir Shaivism in future episodes. And with that, thank you so much, Joe, for joining me today and sharing amazing insights. And also thank you, Stephen Robbins, for being an amazing mentee and recommending me wonderful souls like Joe. Thank you once again, Stephen, and keep recommending some good people like Joe.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste. So, folks, that was our episode with Joe Bains. And before we jump into the fun trivia section, we have a quick request. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the Guiding Voice podcast from wherever you have tuned in, because subscribing keeps you updated on new episodes. And also, if you have enjoyed the conversation and found it useful, please share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues who would also like TGV, the Guiding Voice. So spread the knowledge and help others grow just like you. Now let's hop into the trivia segment. There are 3 less known facts about biohacking, and I would like to present them. So first is, biohacking is an evolving field. While biohacking may seem like a cutting edge trend, it's worth noting that the term itself was coined in the early 2000s. And biohacking encompasses a wide variety of practices, from optimizing nutrition and sleep to experimenting with wearable technology and nootropics, and it continues to evolve as new techniques and technologies emerge. Second is about DIY biohacking communities. Biohacking has given rise to do-it-yourself communities where enthusiasts share their experiments as well as findings, and these communities often emphasize open source information, enabling individuals to replicate and modify biohacking techniques. It is a collaborative space where knowledge is freely exchanged. And that is it from my side from the biohacking perspective. Now, I would love to hear from you. Whatever the interesting facts that you are aware of biohacking, please feel free to share them through YouTube, or you can also comment on social media platforms wherever you have found the episode. And that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in and also for being part of our awesome TGV community. Folks, we would love to hear from you. So do not hesitate to share your ideas, feedback, topic recommendations or guest speaker suggestions or anything that you'd like to share with us, please share through social media, or you can also email us at theguidingvoiceforyou@gmail.com, and let's create content that resonates with you. I'm your host Naveen Samala, a lifelong learner, and my goal is to have impactful conversations that improve not only your life but also your career. Until next time, take care and stay inspired. Remember, the future holds great things because the best is yet to come. Goodbye for now. See you all in the next episode with another amazing guest. Take care.